Go. Welcome to Sports and Songs podcast. Today is June 12th, 2021. We're in season 2, episode number 29 here. This is Dan and your host, Andy. Andy, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. Doing good. Yourself?
Good. We've got lots of updates on sports. I'm going to provide on my segment a little pulse of baseball in Minnesota. Kind of, we like to keep the pulse here of where everything's going on this show.
Right.
We are really the pulse of baseball in the state, even though we're in Western Carver County, but we'll cover that. We'll cover the Twins. We'll cover Major League Baseball. College World Series is coming up. And
the softball World Series wrapped up.
We've got music, concerts, album review, trivia question, all sorts of goodies on tap for today.
But first, the trivia question.
Today's trivia question is please name the person on the current Twins roster who was a former MVP of the College World Series. A current member of the Twins' current roster that was formerly named the most outstanding player in the College World Series. This is a good question.
Well, it can't be Nelson Cruz because I don't think they had it back then. He's kind of old.
Oh.
Okay. I went there. I said it. Sorry. I love Nelly.
You just went there. So feel free to look it up if you're joining us on the internet. If not, you'll be surprised by the answer, but perhaps you may know the answer. So let's get started with some sports updates.
It's a little warm out, like we said, like we did last week. So here's a little things to cool you off. Here's the Gopher volleyball schedule for 2021. August and September kind of cools off then, hopefully. If you notice, they got Texas comes up here in September. It's pretty hard to get Texas to come up in November and December. They were kind of against that. They got some good teams up there to start with. And those are the teams. Gopher volleyball usually makes the tournament, makes it pretty fun, the tournament. So these won't be big challenges for them, teams they've seen. So good luck to the girls there. But that schedule's out now. Like we said last week, football's out. If you want to get your tickets early, get them now before everything changes. The Star Tribune stats aren't up yet for updated baseball, so I went to Max Prep. And here's boys baseball Class A. Let's do the top 3 for all these. New Ulm Cathedral, first. Red Elf, second. Kenyon Wanamingo, third. 2A, Rochester, Sibley East, and Breck. 3A, Sartell, Mankato, and Bemidji. Again, different amount of games played for these different areas, but that's kind of the way it goes. COVID or not, this is the way it goes. Rainouts, travel schedules. I know some teams have even, because of heat this last week, have postponed games. So, and then 4A, Bloomington, Jefferson, Andover, and Egan up there. College Baseball World Series. We're not going to go over every bracket, just some that kind of touched us close and locally here. Here's the Stanford Regional. We said North Dakota State was in it. They lost to Stanford 37 the first game. So they went to the elimination bracket, beat Nevada, and then they UC Irvine kind of had their way with the Bison there in that third game. They could have moved up. It's double elimination, but the Bison did win one game. So hats off to them, to the squad up there. And a smaller school like that, this has to be great for recruiting and for just the staff that's already there going, hey, we made the tournament. We can do this. So congratulations to them. 3 Big Ten teams did make the baseball tournament too. In the Fayetteville bracket, Nebraska was there. They won the first game, and they lost to Arkansas. Then they went down to the elimination one, then they won again. So an outside shot, but they beat Arkansas, lost. They lost 2 games. It's double elimination, so they had a good run. Would have been nice to see Nebraska sneak in there. They got a good team. I would watch them next year too. Maybe their little picture will be over here in the regional winner for next year. Maryland was kind of the same boat as the Bison were. Lost, won, and then lost again. So, or one. I mean, they had 2 games. Eliminated East Carolina, beat them. Maryland's an all right team. I don't know if they'll win a region next year, but they will be back. Michigan, who I thought was going to do a lot better this year, they were 2 and done and went home. Lost 2 games to UConn and Central Michigan. They lost 2. Notre Dame ends up winning that bracket there. But here is, they got 2 different brackets, a bracket 1, bracket 2 for baseball. Here's the matchups already going on this weekend. Some teams did play last night, double elimination. Arkansas leads 1-0 over North Carolina State. Arizona and Ole Miss are going at it. They're up 1-0. Texas Tech is behind to Stanford. That game is in Texas. That's home team's down by 1. And Nashville bracket Vanderbilt. They're up 1-0, and Vanderbilt's my pick to win the whole thing right there. So watch them. They got a great pitching staff down there. That's a game to watch. Bracket 2, you got Texas and South Florida, Virginia and DBU. Dallas Baptist University is who that is. DBU. Pretty good school there. They will play Virginia in the Columbia bracket. Mississippi State and Notre Dame up top there, and then Tennessee and LSU. So those brackets are going on right now. College softball, which started last week, they are done already, and there is your 2021 champions, Oklahoma Sooners. JMU, who we talked about last week on the show, who's in the tournament, had a very nice run. If you get a chance to go back and see some of the highlights of it, this one gal, this pitcher in there, just did incredible things. We've posted on the Facebook page. Softball fans, check it out. Really nice. Let me give you the whole inspirational small school rah story. Just a girl who had a great tournament. I don't care if you're from Oklahoma or from JMU or wherever. You have a good tournament. That's a good story to watch, and she was fun to watch. Major League Baseball. Tampa Bay still ahead in the East. Now look at the games. 64 games. They only played 60 last year. So we're kind of getting uncharted territory for some of these players. Oh, all these games. So Tampa Bay up by a game over Boston. Yankees, 3 games above 500, 6.5 out. But they're the Yankees. It hurts to say you can't ever count them out. Central, you got the Sox, for now, the Indians until next year. There's the Twins holding down the basement there. In the American League West, the A's are still up front. Like we said earlier in the year, you get a big winning streak a season and play 500 the rest of the way, you're going to win. And so far, they're proving us right with game lead over Houston. Angels, again, I don't know. Seattle and Texas rounding off that division there. East, the Mets up to a 4-game lead. Philadelphia is, like I said, second. Atlanta, Miami, and does my heart good to see Washington last. Central, Cubs, both Chicago teams in first place still. Cubs and Milwaukee now tied for first. Cardinals 4 out, Cincinnati 5 out. Watch the Cincinnati Reds. And Pittsburgh 12 out. And in the East, San Francisco, the Dodgers, the Padres, then Colorado and Arizona. If Arizona makes 40 wins this year, 50 wins, that's going to be a successful year for them. I wouldn't be surprised if Arizona starts trading off players and calling up the AA roster pretty soon. They're just a mess down there. Little classroom time right now. Before we go to the next story, got to kind of, I don't say educate, but maybe refresh your memories.
Well, we are an educational podcast. Here.
Right. Your schooling leader. The Mendoza line. Batting baseball, you hear the Mendoza line a lot. The Mendoza line is an expression in baseball deriving from the name of a shortstop, Mario Mendoza, whose poor batting average is taken to define the threshold of incompetent hitting. Cutoff point is most often said to be 200. Mendoza's career average was slightly above that at 215, though. So keep that in mind. When a position player's batting average falls below that level, the player is said to be below the Mendoza line. It is often thought of as an offensive threshold in which a player's presence on a major league roster team cannot be justified, regardless of his defensive abilities. The term often does not apply to pitchers who are expected to not be that efficient of a hitter. The term has come to be used in other contexts when one is so incompetent in one key skill that other skills cannot compensate for its deficiency. Ozzie Smith made a career fighting that 200 line his whole career, but his defense was so great. Jose Oquendo was around there. We had was it Junior Ortiz that one year for the Twins, was right around that Mendoza line for a while. Rob Deere was a 220, 230 homer or average guy, but would hit 35 home runs. So Mendoza line is kind of the make or break. Great, Andy. What do we care about the Mendoza line? Because this year, right now, at 213, Francisco Lindor is above the Mendoza line finally. Joy in Metville. He's finally above it. Had to bring it up. NASCAR. Their all-star races this weekend in Texas. Their all-star race, it's got fan voting on it and everything else to get you in there. These results, it's just fun to watch. I mean, yeah, the guys tried. There's no anything else because there's a lot of money at stake here, of course. Sponsorships because you win this and that. The like I said, results don't affect the standings here. So it's like the midseason All-Star game. It would be on Sunday on Fox Sports 1, FS1 at 5 is the open, 5 o'clock Central Time for those of us here in the Minnesota area. And 7 o'clock is when the open start or the race starts. Why it's on FS1 for an All-Star game, this is really, we've talked about it before. I just don't get why these networks spend all this money for these sports and then bury it on their other cable channels. Here is the standings as of right now. Kyle Larson with 2 wins in a row gives him 3 for the year. He's pretty comfortably, him and Martin Truex will make it. I would say it's the top 16 guys who make it. If you win, you're in. If more than 16 guys win, then they go by these points. So just because Michael Waddell has a win, that doesn't mean beans if 6 other guys win and drop him down to 17th. He's got to keep them points up. I hear some other guys with points. Denny Hamlin seems to be comfortable in points. As long as much. But here's the thing: you get, Stenhouse Jr. wins a race. Now he's up here, and you all drop down. Bouchard drops to being out of the race by 7 points. So it's very important that you keep winning, or if you're up here, you stay up there. You keep getting your second and third place position or finishes. But yeah, the All-Star race this weekend should be fun to watch under the lights. Soapbox is kind of a 3-parter this week. They're all kind of the same but different. So here we go. I saw this stat this week, and stuff like this drives me nuts. And you're gonna be hard to believe I'm a Mets fan saying some of these things. Oh, here they're comparing deGrom's numbers. Now he's better than Bob Gibson. Okay. Now deGrom's done this for the last 3 or 4 years. That's great. Gibson did that for a career. Jacob can keep this up the next 3 or 4 years. Then we'll have this argument. Not now. I can't stand when one player has a great year and they compare him to Hall of Famers. Is deGrom a Hall of Famer? At this rate, yes. If he keeps up these numbers in 2 or 3 years, we'll have this conversation comparing him to Bob Gibson. Not now. Not a fan of stuff like that. Pete Alonso comes out shooting his pie hole that Major League Baseball is altering baseballs based on who the upcoming free agents are. Meaning if there's going to be a lot of good pitchers coming out, they put a lively ball in there. If there's a lot of good hitters, they put a dead ball in there. You want to say that, Pete? Great. Say it the year after you retire, not when you're playing. Josh Donaldson, say this stuff after you retire, not when you're playing. When the Mets played the Twins played the Yankees this week, Donaldson had to face Garrett Cole, who he said was doctoring the ball. Funny, he was going into the game, I think he was like 0 for 8 with 4 strikeouts against him. Struck out 2 more times the other day. There was pictures of Josh Donaldson in batting practice wearing like a flak jacket underneath in case he got hit. I almost wish he would have hit because he would have had it coming. You want to pop off, wait till you retire. And Bobby Witt Jr., we put this on our Facebook page. Double-A ball player, obviously son of Bobby Witt, pitcher for the Angels. Hit a home run. You can watch it on our Facebook page. You can YouTube it. Look up Bobby Witt Jr. home run. He touches home plate. If you watch at the end, before the pitch, the catcher stands up. They toss the ball to him. He tags home plate. Like the catcher and the ump had talked about it ahead of time. Now that's the way you got to do it. You got to wait till before the next pitch is thrown to appeal. If you would have thrown a ball or a strike and they said, hey, wait, he missed home plate last time, too bad, pitch was thrown. Now, the ump could have called him out the second he got in the dugout because he left the batter's area. Instead, they appealed, which the way when they appealed, the ump knew it was coming. I'm not saying conspiracy stuff here. The ump and catcher talked about it. Like the ump said, hey, he missed home. The catcher, did he say something? Hey, we're going to appeal it later. It was AA ball. You can see it's on a telecast. Obviously, AA doesn't have replay. Do they now in the future put it in for how low down do you go for it? Yeah, he did a little slide step across home plate. He didn't do like cartwheels where he missed it. He touched it. There was a player for the Pirates this week, hit a home run. He got the first base, missed first. So he was called out when he left after home plate got the dugout. He was off the play field. They called him out for missing the base. Just silly things like this. Sometimes umpires make themselves part of the game. In this case, I think he did. The person of the week, getting back to my fandom here, is Jacob deGrom. Yeah, like I said, don't compare him to Bob Gibson, what he's doing this year, but enjoy what he's doing right now and watch it. Howie Rose put this on the Mets Instagram page. If you're too young to remember Tom Seaver or the best of Dwight Gooden, make sure to savor every Jacob deGrom start. Do not take this for granted. And that's what I'm saying too. Enjoy what Jacob's doing now. 2 years ago, we would have said, oh, Noah Syndergaard, he's the greatest ever. He's going to miss his second straight year because of Tommy John surgery. So, God forbid anything happens to Jacob deGrom. He stays healthy. This keeps up. We're all fat, dumb, and happy. Now, you got to remember, Jacob deGrom was a shortstop in high school and college also. He was drafted the same year as Bryce Harper and a whole bunch of other great players. But Jacob was taken in the 9th round. So let's just hope he stays healthy. Here's one the other night, just to say how Jacob's doing this year. He had 2 more RBIs last night. He has 5 RBIs on the year. He's given up 4 earned runs. You know, he's 6-2 in his 10 games. He's got 1 complete game with a shutout, 64 innings pitched. He's given up 26 hits, 7 runs, 4 of them earned, 3 home runs he's given up. So of his 4 earned runs, 3 are on home runs. So it's not like he gets a few base hits and gets all riled up. He has not hit a batter. He's walked 8 and struck out 103. He's batting 400 on the year. He's 10 for 25. He's had 5 RBIs, 8 strikeouts. The rest of the pitching staff has 5 hits for the Mets. Marcus Stroman has 2 of them, and they're both doubles. deGrom has the 1 double on his hits so far. But that's not saying deGrom's going to be in the home run derby or he should be batting 3rd or anything like that. But some of these pitchers played outfield or played infield in college and high school. That's why I think the pitchers should still bat. They know how. They got into college and being able to bat. Don't take that away from them. Let the pitchers hit. There is some stuff going out there saying deGrom is doctoring the ball. Because no one could be this good. There's got to be something wrong with it. He's putting stuff on the ball. No, he's not. He's got. Now, granted, well, these are all of his teammates. Well, here's Trevor May, who just recently joined the team. You know, other players who are on there. Of course, we're going to have his back that, you know, he ain't doctoring the ball. If you think he is, then have people go out there. This is just all internet, blah, blah, blah. Twitter people saying he's doing it. Other players saying they're doing it. I don't know if Josh Donaldson was one of them popping off on this either. But deGrom's not. I mean, it's just pure skill. And they don't like it. You're not supposed to be good 3-4 years in a row. You have your 1 or 2 breakout years, get your big contract, and then stink the rest of your life. Kevin Gross. But he's just consistent. He's good, and he's healthy. That's the key. deGrom's been healthy. Yeah, he missed 1 start and had a rehab start because he had a little tenderness on the one side. They nipped it in the bud. He didn't sit there and go, no, I'm fine, and keep toughing it through it and hurt himself. That's what you got to do. Take care of yourself. Music part of the show. Things are starting to open up again for tours. Like I said, we mentioned Medina. Check out Medina all the time for their concerts. Go to a lot of stuff at your local bars for those clubs, those bands. Those are fun to watch. Here's some big name ones right now we're talking about following here. The Eagles will be on tour coming up. They will be at the St. Paul at the Xcel Energy Center October 1st and 2nd. See the Eagles. Fozzy is on tour. No Minnesota dates, but the August 7th, they will be in Sheboygan, Wisconsin at Brat Days. Fozzy was supposed to play here at Twin City Jam, I believe it was called, but a lot of those concerts got rescheduled. They've just up and canceled them all, and bands are re-putting together new tours. So watch your ticket stubs, check where you got stuff from. I don't know how it goes for reimbursing you, or if it's the same company that does the tour, maybe they'll still get you in. I don't know how all that's working. You'll just have to follow up on that. Check your stubs. Oh, Fozzy's in town. I got a ticket. No, that's for the old tour. So read your tickets. Don't get stuck standing in line and being a fool. Warrant, the 30th anniversary of the Cherry Pie album, they're going on tour. They'll be in Hinkley September 10th and Carlton, Minnesota, September 24th. Now, for those of you who don't know, who might go, oh, hey, Warrant's Cherry Pie, yeah, let's go great and see him. Many years ago, don't have the exact date offhand, Janie Lane is no longer with the band, so don't expect to see him up there. He passed away a few years ago. I think most of the rest of the band's still there. They're still doing well touring, but so just letting you know, it might sound a little different. Don't get all excited. I would like to see them. I still like their music, but twice they'll be in Minnesota, September 10th at Hinkley and September 24th at Carlton. Leonard Skinnard on tour July 27th in Shakopee at Twin Cities Summer Jam. Judas Priest, September 27th, the Armory. I would love to say I'd meet you there. I will not be in town that week. Please, someone go for me, take lots of pictures. This year, if not next, might be one of the last times you'll see them. They all still sound great. It's just other guys have started doing their own projects. I think they probably get together for one more run. Rob Halford's still sounding awesome. But they've all kind of, like I said, KK Downing's done a couple solo projects or different projects here and there. Don't know if this is the last time we'll catch the actual Priest lineup up there.
I got a question.
Yeah.
So September 27th, it's a Monday night as well. So that's September 27th. I do recommend the Armory, great venue for a concert. I love that. But this is a Monday night. It would be a good show to see. That's all I got. Yeah,
Priest is they're kind of in their own class. You go to the whole Mount Rushmore of rock music. Rob Halford's on there, if you ask me. He's one of the four up there, period. And someone goes, well, who else did you have up there? That's a show for another day. I'm not going to spoil it. I'm just telling you right now, Halford's up there. But yeah, those are the concerts coming up. Watch other ones popping up here and there too. Bands are putting together other tours. They like I said, old ones are getting canceled finally. I know the Guns N' Roses one got canceled. I've heard different things about Vince Neil and Motley Crue canceling out of the one at the greenhouse there, US Stadium, US Bank Stadium. I don't know if they're pulling it or not. Vince Neil, I know we covered this before, I'll say it again, came out to one of his solo shows a couple weeks ago, got about a third of the way, halfway through the show, said, guys, I don't have it, I'm done, and walked off the stage. Yet they're still pushing his other shows. He's supposed to be at Buck Hill coming up here mid-September. Don't know if I love Motley Crue. Loved them back in the day. For the last 6-7 years, I've heard nothing but Vince's voice is gone. He's not the same. But people still, it's Motley Crue, they go. Guys, and again, it's like a sport. You can't hang it up. It's hard for singers to hang it up. It's hard for athletes to hang it up. I don't want to see a 50-year-old Byron Buxton still trying to hit. Or a 40-year-old Byron Buxton trying. No, I want to keep those memories good. I don't want to go see Motley Crue ruin my theater of pain memories, I don't want to do that. So that's why. Not a rip on Vince, I see how it's hard to give it up. I get it. But my word of advice is, Vince, hang it up. Do a podcast like the rest of the free world, or do something. But Def Leppard's still sounding good. Joan Jett's sounding awesome. Poison's still sounding good. So if that tour stays together, I still think those three are big enough draw to go see. You don't need to fill in a fourth band. A little side note about Joan Jett there coming in. It's like Guns N' Roses is out too. Use both of those examples. Axl Rose filled in for Brian Johnson from AC/DC at the end of their last tour. Axl, I guess, is sounding great from what I hear. Joan Jett was supposed to fill in if Axl couldn't do it. So that's how good her voice still is, that AC/DC was offering her a shot at it. So right there, those bands are all sounding awesome still. I know Def Leppard, I've heard some interviews with Rick Allen, the drummer. They're all excited to get back out on the road. So they want to do this. They're not like, oh, I got another ex-wife to pay off, I need to go on tour. That's not why they're doing it. It's love of the music. They still have the fire in their belly to do it. That's why they want to do it. A lot of these other bands, Leonard Skinner's still doing it for love. Warrant, they've been touring for a while. They didn't get a bunch of guys together to go, hey, it's the 30th year of the album. Let's do the tour. So they're just still touring. It's just the album happens to be 30 years old. Let's ride that wave a little bit. So they are. Fozzy, like we've mentioned, they just got a new song out, new album out. He's touring. He's been wanting to tour for a couple of years. Couldn't. The Eagles, they got back into a few years ago, and they're still doing just fine. And they're doing okay. So a lot of these bands, they're still good to watch. Be careful, though, the venues. Another reason I wouldn't want to go see the one with Def Leppard and that, I've heard US Bank Stadium is horrible for sound. Hopefully they get that figured out in the next few concerts. Hate to see a big building like that go to waste. You can't do concerts at it. Kind of wish they would have kept the Metrodome for stuff like that, for tractor pulls and concerts, That's all it was really good for anyway. But, stuff like that. Because in Houston, that's what they did. The Houston Astrodome holds just concerts and tractor pulls now, So that's what I got. That's my music and sports segments. Local town balls are still going good. I know Dan's been covering that stuff. They're fun to go watch. High school sports are wrapping up here a little bit too. Tennis tournaments were this last weekend. Congratulations to those kids. I just got to say, I'm in the baseball itch right now. The town balls, the Twins are in last, but they're competitive. They're losing by like 3-4 runs, but here's the things. Kenta Maeda is not the same Kenta Maeda the last couple of years. Dobnik, he's the whole, and I'm not saying this is him, but it's the whole typical, hey, let's give him big money, and now he's turned to mud. He's got, and here's the sad thing on the Dobnik contract, that was guaranteed money. From what I read of the guy and heard of the guy, he's not laughing every day to the bank with it going, "Huh, suckered you in." No, he's as frustrated he's doing bad as the next guy. So I feel bad for him. Hope he turns it around and can earn his money. Offensively, I think we're doing okay. I mean, I've never been a big Sano guy, so I'm not surprised with his numbers being low. Nelson Cruz is doing fine. Buxton, when he's healthy, is fine. The rest of the offense, I think, is doing okay. Josh Donaldson's not quite what we paid for, but not making excuses. He hasn't been the healthiest man in the last year and a half either. So the Twins, that's what happened. They got a little good, tried to get better, and got bit with the whole, oh, we signed you to big money, you're not worth it bit. The thing they've always kind of feared, now finally got him. Let's hope they can sign a big name player who pans out so they don't shy away from him again for so long. Mets signed a big name player, and he just moved his average up to 213. All right. So I guess if we signed a guy for that kind of money, he'd be at 213, but the rest of the team rallied around him, I'd be okay with that. If your team's in first, you get what you get. But that's That's my bits. That's my stuff. Any comments or concerns from your end, sir, on any of that?
Yes, for music concerts, Fozzy, you mentioned no Minnesota dates this year. Now they'll be at Rockfest July 16th, I believe, in Cadott, Wisconsin. That's where a lot of the Minnesotan folks go to that location. So really, that's very close to be able to get a chance to see them as part of the Rockfest. Fun outdoor show. Now, did you know former Twin Kyle Gibson with the Rangers?
Yep.
4-0 right now, still 4-0, no losses. ERA is less than 2.5, and very, very interesting. Texas is not good this year, kind of like the Twins, but it's interesting to see Gibson.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of the ex-Mets pitchers who've gone to the team doing very well too. It's kind of heartbreaking.
Now you had mentioned earlier with the there's Josh Donaldson and other players complaining into the league or in public about pitchers doctoring baseballs, putting foreign substance on, doctoring of some sort. And the item that you mentioned earlier was similar as far as complaining about baseball. But their comment was, you're not doctoring an already existing baseball. What he's saying is that the manufacturing company is altering it before they give it to the league, before they hand them out.
That's what Pete Alonso's saying, yeah.
So that's what Alonso said. So there's two buckets there. There's people complaining about the already existing balls, doing something to them or adding something to them. And then what his point is that by the time the Major League Baseball gets the balls, the teams get the balls to start the game, they're already altered, is what he's saying, depending on free agents or whatnot. So that's an interesting twist. He's going after the manufacturer there rather than pointing the finger at a particular player. So
now, if you look at a game from a couple years ago, like pre-pandemic, we'll say, back in the day, pitch comes, bounces, catcher threw it back no matter what. That ball hits the ground for the catcher. If you watch, catchers tossing it out right away. They're getting rid of that, so you're not getting a nice scuffed ball. Mike Scott back in the 80s was known for scuffing the ball. And I forget the name of the player. I want to say it was a shortstop for someone in the 70s. The pitcher was always getting a scuffed ball. They went out and checked his glove. He was all good. Shortstop had it in his glove. So every time I went around the horn or shortstop touches the ball, not as much as first base, but he gets the ball a lot. He'd give it a little rub. So not saying you got to call the whole infield in and check, but people do what they got to do. There was that one pitcher a while ago, they made him change his hat. He had substance under here. Look at these guys that come out. They'll have a big tar mark on their shoulder or their sleeve or their hat. Really? They're not putting something on the ball? I get dust from rubbing your hand on there and you get a little powder on your leg or something. I get that. But they got nice old stains on their hat or their shoulder or something like that. It's what do you do? What do you do about that? That's always kind of confusing and blowing me away. It's like, oh, you're not going to say he's not doctoring the ball. Look at his shirt. Look at his hat. Pete Alonso, I can see a little bit where he's coming from, but a lot of it, I think, Pete, is the head game. Hey, I'm a free agent this year. Watch me put up numbers. Now you try too hard. Just play. Just relax and play and have fun.
The other thing you mentioned was those two players that hit home runs, hit a dinger, forgot to touch one or more than one base or home plate or something. Very rare to see that. What I find interesting is from a scoring. How do you score the play? So they touch all the bases like Witt, 1, 2, and 3. Forget home. You're called out, but they rule that a triple in the books. Is that correct?
Yep. He was ruled a triple.
How about the guy that didn't touch first base?
I think he was just out.
Out. So
I haven't seen the official scorebook on that, how that was done.
It takes away the home run in the first case and the magnitude for Witt is that I think he was leading the league that he's in with 9 or 10 or 11 home runs or something. And that's why it's amplified for him, because he was leading the league that he plays in, even though it's minor league baseball. That's 10 home runs this early in the season. They started a month later than everyone else. That's huge. And now to take one away is more amplified because he forgot. Now, how do you forget to touch home, even if you do skip? But it's one of those it's one of those things that just it's very weird. It's one of those oddities in baseball, and I have seen people round second miss it, people round third don't touch the bag, and I think that's typically in your hustle on a double or a triple. You're going out and you may have missed it. Typically with home runs, though, you're just in a trot. So it's interesting to see that happen. But yes, you touch all three bases, you skip home, it goes down in the books as a triple. Very interesting. So
I can see the missing home part because some of the guys have their little celebration thing to do for the get home. If they're pointing to the sky or waving or doing whatever they're doing. Not that I forgive it or understand it. I'd almost expect it once a year, someone missing it like that. But also, how many guys made it so relevant you watch? They're staring. They want to make sure they touch home plate. I mean, if you look back, you watch the home run videotape when McGuire hit number 60, whatever, 72, whenever broke the record. He went first. He missed it. He came back and touched it.
Yes.
Buck Colley goes, don't forget to touch first. He had to go. He almost missed first base on a record-breaking home run. He would have taken the limelight off Canseco for the ball bouncing off his head for a home run for the biggest bonehead play. You know, you just broke the record for home runs and you forgot first base. Yeah, but like I said, I get your point. You're frustrated as a player, this and that. Do you complain about your job in front of the boss at work? No, you wait till you leave that company, then you throw them under the bus. Wait till you retire before you say anything, guys. You may have a good leg to stand on. Josh Donaldson's going to release a book or a movie or whatever he said about the guy's doctoring. Really? You've been in the league how long? And you got this all this evidence. Get another hobby. Do that after you retire. Release it. Get a special on ESPN. They'd love to have you. Right. Don't do it when you're playing. Don't do it when you're playing silly. That's career suicide. And also with the Twins, we're not they're not that type of organization. They don't need that in the locker room and the media following them. They're getting enough bad press right now as it is without winning. They don't need you coming up there popping off. So one other quick note. Tom Thibodeau, so. Anything else for you, sir? Trivia answer.
Yes, trivia answer. Here's the trivia question we brought up at the beginning of the show. Which current player on the Minnesota Twins baseball roster is a former MVP award winner for the College World Series? Former MVP winner, College World Series. To narrow it down, this took place in 2012. It was outfielder Rob Refsnyder. Now, Rob Refsnyder was with the Arizona Wildcats. His junior year, put up some phenomenal numbers in the regular season, and then got to the World Series and did even better. So Rob Refsnyder, current Twins center fielder. I think he's hurt now again, but he was the named most outstanding player in the 2012 College World Series with the Arizona Wildcats. And, he went on, his stock was pretty high. It was a 5th round pick by the New York Yankees in the subsequent draft. But Refsnyder was a stud. He hit 4th for a little smaller guy. He was hitting cleanup for the Wildcat team. Now, speaking of College World Series, 1 week from today, it kicks off. 1 week from today, 19th of June, College World Series kicks off. And for those who don't follow it that closely, it's essentially your Sweet 16. You're down to the 16 teams left in college baseball. Right now, they're really at 32. After this weekend, they'll cut that in half from 32 teams down to the final Sweet 16, and that will be good. That's fun to watch. That takes place every year in Omaha, Nebraska. Now locally,
watch Vanderbilt. That's my pick.
Vanderbilt is going to be a good team to watch. Now locally, we keep the pulse here of local baseball on Sports and Songs on our podcast here. Amateur teams are well into their season now. They're well into conference play. We're starting to see tournaments now, weekend tournaments. Belle Plains hosting their Tigertown Classic this weekend, and there's a lot of tournaments there that bring in teams from different conferences, teams you don't normally get to see a lot, and teams that are also from Class A, Class B, Class C, all commingled in some of these tournaments. Makes it fun. Over 35 baseball, men's Federal League is in its 6th week of the season. They are well underway, and baseball over 50 is starting to see their first games go into play here. The team I'm on, we start a week from today, June 19th, first game of the season. So I'm going to be covering a lot of that as well, a lot of the amateur senior men's. And this coming week, I'm hoping to get 2, maybe 3 amateur games this week. And what I'll do is report on that next week and maybe do a little coverage on my midweek show. But that's all I've got for sports.
Kind of like ESPN does on their preseason games. Can we mic you up during a game and just hear the heavy breathing as you're trying to run down the first base?
We'll be mic'd up.
Hard breathing.
Mic'd up during the game. It's over 50, but they play. It's regular baseball. It's 7-inning games. It's very similar.
Do that for your Wednesday show one time. Just mic yourself up for a game.
The over 35 league. It's very similar to that, but it's over 50. Now, keep in mind, the state of Minnesota is toying with, and it may go live next year, the over 60 baseball league. Actual baseball. Overhand pitching baseball with an actual round ball and a wood bat over 60. So that could be, they were planning to
bases and everything, huh?
They were hoping to base that or kick that off here this year. And I think I got tabled until next season, but that's all I've got for sports. The answer to the trivia question, Rob Ref Snyder, once again, big stud, Arizona Wildcats.
I like him as a player. I watch him.
He's good. He's good. Now we can move into the album of the week. The album of the week this week is brought to us actually by a listener request. Keep those coming in. It always gets us to branch out, and typically I do the metal, the heavy metal, the hard rock music. But this week,
well, we did do Michael Jackson that one time, so we do venture out.
Yes. We do, and we try to branch out. And once again, this show is an educational show, so we like to educate folks. But this week, it's Garth Brooks' No Fences album. Garth Brooks, No Fences. No Fences is the second studio album by American country music artist Garth Brooks. Released August of 1990, reached number 1 on Billboard's top country albums chart. The album also reached number 3 on the Billboard 200. So once again, it's a crossover. It's country music, but it got to number 3 on the Billboard 200. On the latter chart, it stayed in the top 40 for 126 consecutive weeks. And so, 52 weeks a year, 50. That's over 2 straight years on the top 40. No Fences remains Brooks' best-selling studio album to date, with 18 million copies shipped in the U.S. alone. I'll repeat that, 18 million. That's 18 times platinum. And it was actually the album that made him an international star. It was also his first album released in Europe. This album is 38 minutes long, 29 seconds, recorded at Jack's Tracks Recording Studio in Nashville, Tennessee. Now, here's the track listings. Many of the fans here will understand this. They will be familiar with the track listing. 10 songs. Song 1, The Thunder Rolls. Song 2, New Way to Fly. Song 3, Two of a Kind, Working on a Full House. Song 4, Victim of the Game. Song 5, Friends in Low Places. That was huge, of course. Song 6, Wild Horses. Song 7, Unanswered Prayers. Song 8, Same Old Story. Song 9, Mr. Blue. Song 10, Wolves. Good album. Now, of these 10 songs, Garth Brooks himself was only a co-writer in 4 of them. It wasn't related to any credit, songwriting credits in any of the other songs, except for just 4 of the 10. So these are other folks' music, and he's singing but only 4 that he's related to on this. The song's released in 1990. He released "Friends in Low Places" that went to number 1, of course. "Unanswered Prayers" also in 1990 that went to number 1. 1991, he released "Two of a Kind," "Working on a Full House," also hit the charts, topped at number 1. And then, and also in 1991, the last one that hit number 1, "The Thunder Rolls." Now in 2000, he re-recorded the song "Wild Horses." They re-recorded and released it 9 years after. Well, 10 years, about 10 years later, they re-recorded "Wild Horses," and that topped out at number 7 on the charts. That was also very, very popular. Now, in September 2015, it was announced that "No Fences" would be reissued for the 25th anniversary to commemorate the 25th anniversary of the release. The release was supposed to include a new version of "Friends in Low Places," featuring George Strait, Jason Aldean, Florida Georgia Line, and Keith Urban singing along. But the album release has since been delayed due to royalty disputes. And so that was hung out to dry. The track "Victim of the Game" was later covered by Trisha Yearwood. At the time was Garth Brooks's friend and future wife, Trisha Yearwood. And she covered that. That came out in the 1991 album for her. Her debut album was 1991. It features that cover of his song, "Victim of the Game." But boy, this album itself was named Album of the Year by ACM in 1990. It reached number 1 on the British country music charts.
Didn't know there was one.
I didn't know there was one. It actually earned him his first gold album in that country, in the UK. It stayed on the charts there for 5 years as well. So 18 million, thanks for the request. 18 million albums sold in the US alone. No Fences, Garth Brooks, 1990 release. And so that's all I've got for that. Any other comments on Mr. Garth Brooks?
Well, the song "Thunder Rolls," that was out years before "Janie's Got a Gun" by Aerosmith. Same type of feel in the song, same storyline in the song. So if you like "Janie's Got a Gun," you're like "Thunder Rolls." Not that they're the same song, but the same meaning, same story being told. I grew up, didn't hear Garth Brooks until I went to college, so 91 when I heard of Garth. A friend of mine, Coach Gustin at Mayor Lutheran, told the story once when he was at Red River County Fair years ago. He was working security, and here's a guy helping back out a bus. It was Garth Brooks driving his own tour bus out, So he even as he was making it up, he drove his own bus. He was just a regular guy. I've got a lot of respect for Garth Brooks. He's a very talented person. He's always kept a cool head. Heard an interview once he did. He says 2 biggest influences growing up. And I've seen Garth in concert, and I can say, and that the 2 bands he mentions, I've seen in concert. So I can kind of say he's kind of combined the 2. His 2 biggest influences were Kiss and Billy Joel.
Wow.
Billy Joel did a song called Downeaster Alexa. Garth covered that. Garth also covered a Kiss song on a Kiss tribute album called "Kiss My Ass." Kiss, get it? What was the song I mentioned earlier? Just went blank on it.
Was it "Hard Luck Woman"?
Hard Luck Woman, yeah. I just went totally. I could picture it because he did "Hard Luck Woman" and he did it on the Jay Leno show. So Garth Brooks is on the Jay Leno show with Kiss behind him as the background band. You can look that up on our Facebook page, which I posted before we started recording this. And if you listen to the "Hard Luck Woman" version from Kiss and Garth didn't country it down and change it. It's the same song. Not that Kiss recorded a country song. It's just it was a song with acoustic guitar, and Garth kind of really made that crossover happen. I think the only reason he was, my opinion, we've talked about this on music shows in the past, without a cowboy hat on, he's a rock and roller. I'm sorry. take out the steel guitar and the cowboy hat, they're rock and roll songs, a lot of them. You just don't hear a rock and roll singer singing about, working on a full house, two-pair working on a full house. You don't hear a rock song singer. That's a country song motif. A lot of his songs are kind of country genre themed. Lyrically, musically, they were rock themed. So that's, I think, where a lot of this crossover came from. The sound was there, and you learn to like the lyrics later on. I think he had his one guitarist tried a solo career, didn't work. But he thought, hey, I'm a guitarist for Garth Brooks. I must be good too. And people wanted to hear his solo stuff. He did okay. But you're living in that shadow. It's when a guy leaves a band to go do his own stuff. Yeah, but you're not with the band. He did his Chris Gaines album, which we've talked about in the past. I think he wasn't trying to prove a point going, I'm Garth Brooks, I could sell anything. That wasn't his Chris Gaines point. He's kind of wanted to do something more without the cowboy hat and steel guitar, rock and roll stuff. The country fans got a little upset with that. Life moves on, people. It's music.
That was produced by Alan Reynolds. Produced the album. Excellent. But that's all I've got today for the album review. Anything more, Andy?
No, like I said, the page 2 was moved to Thursdays from Tuesdays to Thursdays. This week I had it, or last Thursday was on just Anchor only. Kind of mixing it up, keeping it fresh. Sometimes it'll be a blog, like it's been for a couple weeks. Might put it on Instagram. Might put it as a special episode on the audio part. Just to kind of keep it fresh, keep it different. I know Dan does his Wednesday show on the YouTube. Baseball, midweek episodes for baseball stuff. Either town ball stuff or pro stuff, whatever the topics may be. Little fair warning schedule coming up. 4th of July weekend. We don't have the producers for a best of show. No. But it'll be different stuff. Probably more album review, music reviews orientated stuff for that episode. It'll be more music than anything else, I think. I got a couple albums I want to review or bands I want to review per se. So it might be stuff like that for 4th of July weekend because I know we're both going to be out of town. So fair warning for that. If you want to start an album you want reviewed or a group, let us know. We always throw it in for them. Make another episode like that too if you want.
Feel free to leave your comments below and recommendations and requests. Have a good week, everybody. Thanks for listening.
Like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.
Exactly.